Hello, I'm Anja. I'm exploring happiness. So this is the second video of my framework, the pillars of happiness. So there are 6 pillars. The first one is body, and this is the second video for that pillar. The first one was about the brain, and then the second one is now about hormones. Why? Because that's how happiness works. So it's body functions. And hormones have a huge role, as we will discover in the following video. I mean, this video, not the following video, this video. Okay, so in the first video, I did ask quickly, like, can we do primary school level? Like, can you be my friend? So I can be a bit casual. That's how I roll. Also, I have my notes. I look at my notes, and it's a little bit easier when we are already friends that I can look at my notes. I tried teleprompter, I tried learning by heart, I tried spontaneous. It's not working for me. I need my notes. Also, the hands, I have to film this way because this is how it works here. But the hands which appear, they belong to me. So they sometimes flutter up because I do like to talk with my hands. Just so that you know, they are not somebody else's or detached. Nope, they are mine. I know it's a bit awkward. Hormones. So there's 4, sometimes there's 6 or 7, but I stick to 4 happy hormones. They're so-called happy hormones. So we have dopamine, we have oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Let's go. So dopamine is quite well known. It's a hormone which wants to ensure that we have a better future. Like, we still have like food, and we go for, like, let's really think basic needs. So food, shelter, connection, love, maybe mating opportunities mainly. So food, mating opportunities, possibly shelter. Yeah. Just the survival, right? So dopamine is gives us motivation. It is triggered with anticipation. And what is really important to know is it's always in the future. It is also responsible for a lot of addictions, of maybe for all addictions. I'm not really sure. So sometimes it's kind of bad, or like framed as bad. But I learned that in Parkinson's disease happens because there's not enough dopamine, or there's no dopamine production anymore, and we actually need that for movement. So it's an important hormone, right? And I will say that now and then again, none of these hormones are actually good or bad per se. It's how we work with them. And that's why it's really good to learn about them, because then we can trigger them. I mean, I feel that I trigger, let's say, oxytocin or dopamine or something, sometimes intentionally, but most of the times not. But I don't go and have a blood test and test if that actually happens. But it's still good to learn how to work, like how these hormones work, so that we can maybe be a bit more intentional about them. Good. So dopamine, anticipation, which means it's always in the future. So dopamine isn't triggered when you achieve something, in the moment you achieve. Dopamine is triggered so you go and achieve something. But then once you have achieved it, it's already looking for the next achievement, because it's for the future. So, you know, you keep chasing and it's never enough. But it gives you pleasure. It gives you the motivation to do things. And I think it's great, you know. You can really enjoy it. The other thing with that is that all the achieving, the dopamine drives us to do, once we have achieved, we get used to it. So that is why money doesn't make you happy. Not per se, it can in certain circumstances, but generally also health. It doesn't necessarily make you unhappy. It does something with your life quality of life, but it doesn't make you happy or unhappy, because you get used to it. It's called hedonistic adaptation. And there's is research that lottery winners and also with people who have been paralyzed, so they can't move from the neck down, after months or a year, they will bounce back to a certain set point, which is their happiness level. And so the dopamine drives you to want things, the yacht, the house, the island, I don't know, the jet. I'm not sure what people want. But people rush through life trying to do more, wanting more, trying to earn more money because then they can be happy, or trying to have better health because then they can be happy. All these things. But that's dopamine, I guess. I mean, I'm not taking blood tests with everybody and seeing if their levels are high. But when you achieve it, it won't be enough. First of all, there's no dopamine at that point. And the second is you get used to it. Which is great, because if it's a bad thing, it's a shock. You get used to that. I mean, if it's a good thing, you also get used to it because it would be super exciting all the time. And so, that's kind of a bit of a bad news. Like, oh, how can I be happy? Like, it sounds like really stressful, and then I never arrive anywhere. Exactly. So dopamine is something to enjoy on the way. It gives you pleasure on the way, and enjoy the process. When you arrive, so when you, let's say, get that job or that house or that jet, then it's good to trigger other hormones like oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. There's a book from called The Molecule of Now, The Molecule of More Dopamine. And they say like dopamine is future, and then the other hormones are the here and now hormones, the present hormones, because you can, like, they are connected to what happens now. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone. It's called also the love hormone. Humans have survived this long, very likely because they cooperate. And yes, we always think it's doom and gloom and nobody supports anybody and everybody's just selfish, but it's not true. Just look around. And so that is because of oxytocin, very likely. And it lets us bond and trust and build relationships. Oxytocin is triggered by birth and breastfeeding and sex. Well, sex is a bit more accessible for everybody, or for most people. But it's also really triggered by hugs, by looking into each other's eyes, and by connection, by like when you have a connection. So you can kind of create a connection by oxytocin, like maybe giving a hug, but you also can really trigger it by connecting, in the sense of texting somebody and checking in, are they okay? So that is also oxytocin. It's also bonding. It's maybe not as strong as giving birth to somebody, but can't do that all the time. So that's like this nice feeling of belonging, that there's people around you, you're not alone in the world. And also growing roots, having connections into the community, and so on. So that is something you can trigger intentionally. I mean, maybe not go like, I want to hug you because I need oxytocin now, but in general. As everything, it's not good and bad per se, because if you have in a toxic relationship, an abusive relationship, where you really like the people around you are not good for you, same thing. Oxytocin will keep you there. So it's a bonding hormone. It's not judgmental. But maybe, if you're in a toxic relationship, you can get out and trigger your oxytocin with somebody who's, or some people who are a little bit better for you. What great advice. I know. I'm sorry. Okay, so serotonin is the status hormone. So humans are herd animals. No, they are not herd like injured, and they are not herd like listened to, but they are like group animals. And we have to know who's the first at the water hole, or who will go in the middle when the saber-toothed tigers come and attack, so hierarchy. Of course, we don't really need that anymore, so maybe we can go easier on that. Interesting is, what I really find is interesting is, okay, serotonin triggered in a one-to-one comparison. And I mean, really, once you meet somebody new or you haven't seen somebody for some time, you check them out, right? And you compare. We always compare. I mean, it's a big problem in social media is all the comparison. So we compare, and if you feel you're in the upper position, since we don't bite each other's neck and somebody lies in the lower and somebody's in the upper position, if you feel in the upper position, you get serotonin, which gives you like a nice stable mood, it's confidence and so on. And if you feel in a lower position, you get cortisol and stress, it's painful. So you feel like you're not good enough, you're bad and so on. The good news is, I haven't actually, I'm not sure if I read that, but I found it for myself. There's no rule that we can't all be in the upper position. I mean, unless we actually fight and somebody lies down and somebody lies up. But even then you can say like, you know what, you're good in the upper position. Stay in the upper position. So you're good in a, you're good in a lower position. So you're a good loser. It's already also good in something, right? So, I don't know. It works for me. It really works. Like, it suddenly got confidence through this. Because I was like, yeah, of course I compare myself. But yeah, this person is better in that and that. But I'm better in this and this. So sometimes I'm actually, and it sounds a bit silly, but I'm good in being Anya. Nobody can compete with that, or nobody can win against that. So that's serotonin for you. And because it's a perception, both people can, and I mean, often enough, you know how it works. I mean, people compare, and you feel like, oh no, I'm not as whatever, beautiful, rich, or clever, or whatever. And the other person thinks the same. So both can be in a lower, so both can be in an upper position. Okay, I've been talking about that a lot. Endorphins. Let's move on. It's better. Endorphins are body morphine. The body has its own morphine, apparently also its own cannabis. It's awesome. We are like a drug factory. And that is produced when against pain. No, you don't have to go out and break your leg or something to get some painkillers, some morphine, which of course makes you calmer and in a better mood and so on. So morphine. But you can exercise, walk. You can laugh very hard or cry very hard. I think laughing in general has a lot of endorphins. And if you look into it, it actually is painful. But you don't feel it because of the morphine. And it's kind of also fun, so, But what I really like is that I read that massage, meditation, and dark chocolate also seem to trigger endorphin. I mean, which doses is higher, I don't know. Probably when you break your leg, but I'm not going to do that. So there's several ways, accessible ways to get some endorphins. Maybe you can combine, going for a walk and eating some dark chocolate. Or having a massage while eating dark chocolate. I don't know. Yeah. So I want to quickly also talk about cortisol, which is the stress, like one of the stress hormones. And it often gives us pain if it's like oxytocin drops and cortisol comes up because you're now out from your bond and you're out in the wild, and that releases stress, and that's kind of painful. So loneliness is physically painful. I really experienced it. I struggled with it, but we do need cortisol and also the other stress hormones. First of all, cortisol rises in the morning and then hopefully dips in the night. So it has a natural curve, because otherwise I guess we would just stay in bed. I don't know. And also we need our stress hormones, because saber-toothed tiger, I mean, he's really going to get us, or she is really going to get us if we don't have any stress hormones. So nothing good and bad per se. They all have their role, and it's really good to understand how to trigger them. I mean, not going around like, okay, serotonin, I need some, give me some, but more like implementing practices which kind of have in mind that this is how it works. This is how happiness works. If you're well connected, if you have some things to achieve, but you also celebrate when you achieve them with people, and then you're confident and you eat your dark chocolate, happy. There's more to it. It's going to come in the next video. So see you hopefully soon.